Hello! I'm excited to hop on today because I took about a week to step away and regroup because I was getting fucking burnt out. And someone who I admire very, very much said to me in this amazing conversation that, the burnout that I had last year, it was like a bottom, so to speak, when I got to the point where I realized that I had to do things differently. But there's so many undertones of that hustle mantra that are just flowing through my veins. And there's just so much out there that I feel makes us feel like we need to be doing more than we are. And so that's just been this chronic nagging thing in my life, feeling like I always need to be doing more than I am. And so I was doing quite a bit, writing the book, trying to make it. I've been working on moving this first collection of microblogs, Come Out and Play, Musings from the Microblog 1.0, moving that forward and building the community on Patreon and, posting these videos for you. Because I just so want these writings to be out there in the world in bigger ways that can organically spread and branch out. Because I always think of what I'm doing in two parts. There's the writing and the sharing of the writing. And there are so many different aspects of sharing of the writing, whether it be going on interviews or doing social media, sharing my microblogs on video, or whatever it may be. But I want there to be lots of opportunities for you to connect with them, because I just imagine all these little pricks of light out there, floating around in the universe, and people that are going through all different shades of sadness, depression, joy, discovering themselves. And I would just love at any point for them to find these, for them to just be there. So if and when their soul aligns with the things that I'm expressing, they're just there for them, and it's just boop, click. So I just want to make sure I'm doing my part. And at the same time, part of doing my part, I realize now, has to be nurturing myself, caring for myself, pacing myself, and believing in this in a way that keeps it genuine. Because I was laying in bed last night, and it was the first time in a little over a week that I was actually laying in bed excited about thinking about what I would say to you on a video. And when I'm really in the flow and I'm really excited about what I'm creating, I will lay in bed at night and I'll give a whole speech. In my mind, I'll be on a stage and I'll give a whole speech, or I'll write a whole microblog. Sometimes I literally get out of bed and then I write the microblog because I'm like, this is too good, I just got to get it down. Last night I was laying in bed thinking about what I would say on this video. And one of the things that I do want to share is this quote. So the quote is, and years ago my PIC, partner in crime, Jimmy Paschal, gave me this quote. When I first had told him that I wanted to be a writer, this was 6-7 years before I even sat down to start writing my first book. And I've had it pinned up ever since. I found it in a box recently and I pinned it back up over my writing desk. So here it is. The role of a writer is not to say what we all can say, but what we are all unable to say. And that's Elyse Nin. I may be pronouncing her name wrong, which is not so bueno, because I know that she is very prolific and respected, so I'll look into that. But I just love that, because the microblog I'm going to be sharing with you today is one of those stories. And there are 99 microblogs right now that I have ready to go. We have the cover design for the first collection, Come Out and Play. And right now within the Patreon community, I'm working on, raising the funds to be able to bring this collection out into the world. So everything that you find that I offer on Patreon in exchange for that, for fueling these writings, everything I'm doing, is to create resources that help you make the space in your life for your own inspiration to flow through. And that's been something that has helped me function as a creative, to move forward, to follow through on these projects, to continue going, and also have that nurturing, self-loving component in my life that makes it possible, with reducing that burnout, canceling out the noise. And a big thing for me lately has been really doubting this, like doubting that it's possible. There is so much information out there. Everyone has a fucking different opinion on what's right and what's the way to do it and what's the system and how many followers you need. And, you know, even in the publishing world, there's just all this talk about, you know, having to have a certain amount of following to even be looked at, you know, by publishers and all this stuff. And I'm just realizing that in my life, I have to choose what I believe, and I have to choose to believe in me and move forward from there and decide that my way is the way. You know, there's not any certain way that anyone else is saying is the way. It's our way, it's your way, it's my way. We have to figure that out for ourselves and have the courage and the boldness to really do this for us. And so for me, a huge challenge. I mean, I'll get on a video, write something intimate or, really personal. And that naturally comes to me, but my fear in my mind is like, what if one of my relatives is reading this? Or one of my family members? Like, I'm terrified of being, rejected or judged or put down for expressing myself and telling my genuine truth. And so sometimes I find that I get this angst building up inside me because I feel like I am writing or doing things halfway. And something that's been going on with me personally that I'll share is, I've been procrastinating and self-sabotaging when it comes to finishing my first book, trying to make it. Because it is like the most intimate, raw, out there experiences of my life thus far. And, it's fictional, all the names are changed or whatever. But I know that there are people in my life that will, if they should read that, like, judge the shit out of me. And it terrifies me. It seriously terrifies me. And at the end of the day, I realize, like, I can't live this life for anybody else. I can't stifle my truth because of what other people are going to think, even if they are my family or people that have been really close to me. And that is just like one of the fucking hardest things as someone who's a creator in this position, who feels like, my style of writing is largely like 90% based on my personal experiences. Like, the memories come in such immense detail, and I choose these moments in my life and I amplify them and I express them boldly and openly. And it's like ripping my heart open and just splattering it on the page. And so this is just something that I'm coming to work through. And so I have to thank you for being on the other end of this and for sharing this journey with me, because I just, for me, I want to be able to step into my life and live it fully, be who I am unapologetically, and have the courage to just say what I want to say, speak my truth, and be who I am. And I want that for fucking everyone in every scenario you could possibly imagine, as much as possible. I just imagine what we could create, the energy we'd be cultivating in this world if we could step forward as our true selves, in your work, in your school environment, in your family, with your partner, with yourself, with what it is that you love creating and making and doing in this life. So let's dive into this microblog, shall we? So when I read you that quote about the role of a writer is not what we can all say, but what we are all enabled to say, the first microblog that popped in my mind was this one called Until It Was Given. So here we go. I sipped homemade carrot orange juice from a 32-ounce ball mason jar with a 3-inch pastel yellow paint strip wrapped around its bottom half. The jar was a lingering reminder of what I came to call the Etsy shop disaster of 2016. It was a time where nothing I offered online was selling, and I primarily gave away hordes of free content. I was scattered and overwhelmed, admittedly desperate. So I did the unhealthiest thing possible and maxed out a credit card at Michael's. I painted inspirational wooden signs in mason jars you could use as decorative flower vases. After not selling a single jar or a sign through the actual Etsy shop, I formulated my own herbal teas. The teas sold out, but my production cost far surpassed the revenue. A year later, I sit here half snuggled in bed with a cat that's lived 87 lives by now, feeling like I've weathered a lifetime with every entrepreneurial endeavor gone awry. I survived below the poverty line for 3 years, beautifully coming into myself amidst the immense stress of just getting by. Instead of securing a job, I've stayed the course of my calling. I've held any shred of hope and insight in a vice grip, taken every opportunity to live my dream. I grew up being taught that people who take handouts are too lazy to help themselves. That's probably why I felt so ashamed for living with my parents going on 4 years in my late 20s, or allowing my partner to step in and pay my bills when I couldn't anymore. Yesterday, a friend showed up on my doorstep with bags of food. Her little son handed me bunches of bananas, organic fruit and vegetables, bags upon bags of snacks, rice and pasta, quinoa, the most delicious chocolates I've ever had, toilet paper. See, there's always more than enough for all of us. My friend imparted the wisdom of kindness to her little one with bright, happy energy, holding her arms in an open hug that communicated well-being. He beamed the biggest smile, lifting each goodie up high and handing it over. When the cabinets and fridge were as full as they'd ever been, he slipped on my neon green dishwashing gloves and stretched out on the couch while me and his mom settled into deeper talk. I haven't had this much food in the house at once in years, I confided through my tears in an emotional moment of appreciation. It hit me that I'd never had this much food for myself at once in the entirety of my adulthood. You have to have food, girl. Not having food is just silly, she asserted nonchalantly with complete motherly love. A wave of relief enveloped me. I hadn't realized how much I needed the help until it was given. Yeah, so this was written, I think probably like summer, I want to say like summer, July 9th, 2017. So that was like this last summer. Feels like so long ago. And then again, not so long ago. And so I think that there is just like along our path, there can be so many times where we may be struggling, financially or, having family issues, emotional issues, whatever it may be. And because of the shame of it, like we just want to hide it. And this is something that I've been exploring and unraveling in my writing and learning how to be honest with where I'm at and also continue to, really relentlessly live my dream in joy all along the way. And part of that is learning to receive, help in whatever way that it comes. And, it was just an experience I never thought I would have in my life, to have no food in the fridge and like no way of paying for food, and to have a friend show up and like literally bring me food. And sometimes things look totally different on the surface. I mean, I've done so much entrepreneurially. I have a lot of experience, given a TEDx talk, worked with clients, created tons of crap online. I mean, you name it. But just because of that doesn't mean that I haven't, and still go through the challenges of how to really like live your dream, what that means, and to find what that process is for myself. So I'm going to leave you with that today, and I'm going to leave all the links down below for you. Once a month, I'm doing an Around the Campfire gathering in Patreon, and it's in a facet called the Self-Loving Sisterhood. It's a really beautiful sweet little half an hour, about 30-minute retreat with me. And it's just a video recording where I do an energy cleansing, an intuitive card pull, a heart speak, and then I answer one or two of your questions. This is something that I hope to grow and to blossom into just a community of women and self-loving men too are invited, of course, to really have something for yourself if you're just craving self-love and nurturing. And to get a taste of it, I actually have the first one that is just available for anyone who just wants to check it out. Enjoy some time for yourself. You can use a little replenishment, respite. If you've been stressed out, feeling scattered, overwhelmed, confused about your direction, and just splayed out all over the place. So I will leave the links down below to that so you can access that for yourself. And I'd love it if you join us around the campfire this upcoming month. Look forward to me letting you know what the topic this month is going to be. It'll be something super juicy, very intimate and loving and personal, and something that, the topics I pick for that are something that I feel like touches us all. So I'll leave everything down below for you, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.